So good morning again. I'm Karen Scopel. I'm the treasurer of the Poudre Heritage Alliance and also the Natural Lands Coordinator for the City of Greeley. As we look at the puzzle of sustaining a healthy working river today, does history play a role in today's challenges? So listen as I tell the story of one of our beloved river's historical events that continues to play a pivotal role. I want to give credit for part of my presentation information from David Boyd's History of Greeley, published in 1890, and as told by Andy Jones and Tom Check in their excellent book, Colorado Water Law for Non-Lawyers. The tension was palpable in a small schoolhouse on the plains near Windsor, Colorado. Two groups of farmers had gathered that summer day in 1874. One from the nearby settlement of Union Colony, located at the confluence of the Cache la Poudre and South Platte rivers, and the other from the fledgling colony of Fort Collins, located 25 miles upstream on the Cache la Poudre. Both groups had left the comfort and relative safety of the East and, driven by the hope of a new start, traversed the expansive plains. Both groups suffered hardship, illness, even death in their pursuit of this dream. Many men in the schoolhouse that day had risked everything and lost much. Savings carefully accumulated in the East evaporated in the dry western climate as the men and their families toiled to make the desert bloom. The colonists relied on the Cache la Poudre River for water, to drink, to bathe in, and to grow the crops that meant survival, and if they were prudent and fortunate, prosperity. But was the river up to the task the men demanded? It was a thin, tenuous ribbon of water on a sandy expanse. Both settlements had crops in the ground, crops necessary to sustain them through the bitter cold of winter on the high plains, and that could be sold to the mining companies in the nearby mountains to provide needed cash for supplies. The Union colonists had responded to and been selected by Nathan Meeker, who had proposed to unite with the proper persons to establish a colony in Colorado Territory. He sought temperate, moral, industrious, and intelligent persons for this endeavor. In 1870, following the establishment of the Union colony in Greeley, he wrote in the first issue of the Greeley Tribune, "Individuals may rise or fall, may live or die. Property may be lost or gained, but the colony as a whole will prosper, and the spot on which we labor, so long as the world stands, will be the center of intelligence and activity." The colony built the Greeley No. 3 ditch that began operations in 1870. In 1872, several of the original Union colonists, including Robert A. Cameron, formed the Larimer County Land Improvement Company that built the Fort Collins Agricultural Colony, a colony in name only, near the old town that had grown up by the military fort. In the brief history of these two colonies, the river had normally provided enough water to supply their needs. However, this year had been particularly dry, and the Union colony had suffered repeated shortages that threatened to ruin its crops. Upon inspection, it was discovered that the upstream colony of Fort Collins had established additional diversions and was diverting nearly the entire flow of the Cache la Poudre River, thus eliminating one of the principal sources relied upon by the Union colony downstreams. Tempers flared. Neither group was likely to back down. The men had not risked their livelihoods and toiled in a foreign and often hostile land to stand by as their neighbors' actions reduced their labors to dusty fields and dying crops. At the suggestion of each group's peaceable members, they agreed to meet at the Eaton Schoolhouse near Windsor, where they could discuss the dispute and, if cooler heads prevailed, reach a negotiated resolution. However, both groups came armed. Now, on a hot summer day, 40 men packed in a one-room schoolhouse too small to hold them, engaged in a tense discussion. Like sparks from a fire that has grown dangerously beyond what was intended, the men's words hung in the air. As the discussion escalated, one of the Union colony men, unable to bear the tension any longer, hurled back defiance in hot and unseemly language to the Fort Collins men who would not hear to moderation and justice. He arose and moved for an immediate adjournment and called for every man to his tent, to his rifle, and to his cartridges. The story of water law in Colorado is one arising out of conflict, characterized by a series of pivotal events or crises, flashpoints, if you will. At each flashpoint, two conflicting elements collide, driven together by a problem of physical scarcity too grave for the existing system of laws or administration to accommodate. The crisis that summer of 1874 was the first of those flashpoints. Prior to the incident at the Eaton Schoolhouse, there had been no need to administer the river. Although limited, the flows had been sufficient to meet the needs of the colonies. However, the addition of the diversion upstream, combined with the weather that year, exposed the inadequacy of the system, or lack thereof, used to divide the river's flows. Cooler heads did prevail that hot summer day. The agitator was subdued, and two Civil War veterans, Benjamin H. Eaton and General Robert A. Cameron, led a discussion about potential solutions. The Fort Collins men finally agreed to let down some water to save the most valuable things in Greeley. However, according to David Boyd, this was a promise they did not keep, nor mean to keep. They were too intent on running the water out on the Cactus Plain in order to boom the agricultural colony, which was to be Greeley's greatest rival. Fortunately, a rainstorm came in about a week, saved the Union colony's crops, and cooled the situation. From this flashpoint, a new paradigm, the application of prior appropriation, first in time, first in right, to administer the diversion of water from the rivers had emerged and taken root. 2 years later, when Colorado became a state, this doctrine was incorporated into our state constitution, and a court was established solely devoted to the fair and just application of the adopted water laws. We often quote sayings about history, such as, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." However, I find two other quotes more inspiring. Martin Luther King said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." And from Bob Marley, if any of you enjoy Bob Marley's music like I do, "In this bright future, you can't forget your past." The Poudre Heritage Alliance, managing entity for our Cache-la-Poudre River National Heritage Area, is proud to sponsor the annual Poudre Forum. We encourage you to learn more about the history and heritage of this unique river and join us as we seek to promote a variety of historical and cultural opportunities, engage the people in their river corridor, and inspire learning, preservation, and stewardship. Please visit our booth over there on the wall and speak to one of our board members, staff, or volunteers to learn how you can be involved. From becoming a heritage culturalist volunteer, we have several of those here today, to supporting our work through the upcoming Poudre Pour event, which helps raise money for our programs, and our other programs and activities. So with that, I want to just say, speaking of our bright future, today we have a group of young students joining us. This class of bilingual 8th graders from Salida del Sol Academy in Greeley will present what they have been learning about the Poudre and Colorado water issues. And if you haven't visited their posters yet, please make time to do so. They'll be with us through lunch today. Also, they especially want to learn about career opportunities, so take time to share your career with them so they have an idea of what they can look forward to. Bienvenidos, estudiantes. Gracias por acompañarnos. Come on up, please.
Hello, my name is Jimena.
My name is Valeria. Yo soy Valeria.
My name is Melanie.
My name is Vanessa.
My name is Brandy.
My name is Yasime.
My name is Yesenia.
My name is Elian.
My name is Brian.
My name is Diego.
My name is Martin.
We are students from Salida del Sol Academy in Greeley. In our youth radio class, we are researching environmental problems that our society is facing by analyzing water issues.
Something that we learned in our youth radio class is that the water is contaminated with parasites like Giardia before it goes into the water treatment. Giardia is a form of toxic waste of animals, alive or dead. They put harsh chemicals in the water, as they have shown us in our field trip visit to the water treatment plant and the Poudre River. We also learn how to speak in front of an audience and how to interview others. In fact, we have interviewed 2 university teachers from UNC, in addition to Randy Mitchell, a superintendent of the Greeley Water Treatment Plant in Loveland. We learned different ways to preserve the water. For example, try not to have the water running at all while doing other tasks. We learned that people fight over clean water sometimes. Finally, we learned that the location of the people can affect how much water they can receive due to the poor water quality.
We started to make feature stories about water. Luke Runyon from KUNC came in to help us with the pitches. The following are our pitches for the story. How does climate change affect water quality?
How can water be our hero and destroyer at the same time?
We want to know, why are certain states experiencing water shortages? Is this due to climate change or people's recklessness?
How many gallons of water does it make to take a shoe?
How did the flood in Evans impact the people that were involved?
How does the place you live in affect the water quality?
How does water quality affect endangered marine animals?
In this video, you'll be seeing our experiences and learnings from this field trip that we took in September to the Poudre River in the Greeley Water Treatment Plant. The first part you'll see is the water treatment plant, then the jobs you can get at the water treatment plant, and the interviews with Dr. Collins and our fun experience at the Poudre River.
Hola, yo soy Elian Gallardo y aquí estoy en Salida del Sol Academia, aparte de la clase de radio. Y aquí estamos afuera del camión y de los estudiantes y apenas vamos a ir a una planta de purificación del agua. Y aquí están los estudiantes y aquí está el camión que los vamos a ir en.
You are about to see a water simulation based on this idea of water rights. We decided to do this simulation with candy to demonstrate how people have water rights. purpose of this activity was for us to understand Colorado's water rights. The Colorado water rights states, first in time, first in right. This means that people who have the rights first use the water first. The common phrase, first come, first serve, applies to Colorado water law. As long as you had the first water rights in this activity, people or cities were the students, the water was the candy. The first people to get the rights gets the most water, similar to the phrase first come, first serve. This activity taught us that not everybody gets the same amount of water or water rights in their state. It also taught us that there is many water scarcity situations going on around the world, and that we are very privileged to receive the water we use today.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.
We have about 2 minutes still in their presentation time, so if anybody has a question for them, I think I'd like to put them on the spot.
I understand that in a few months you're going to be working with some other students from Barcelona. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, this is pretty much a trailer to what the actual movie is gonna be. That movie, we're gonna share it with Barcelona, and they're gonna see what the water is, how we're gonna use it, how we used it, how we experienced it, and many more things. That's how we communicate, but yeah, there's more things to come.
Hi, thanks for your presentation, that was awesome. Now that you've gone through it once and made a video, done a whole project, done interviews, what would you do differently next time?
I think that, that's a hard question. I feel like we discovered a lot of stuff, we experienced a lot of stuff, and I think we just more information, maybe where the Poudre River gets purified, because we just went to a water treatment plant, maybe how people use it, the things that they use it for, stuff like that.
Well, hey gang, my name's Bob. Thank you for the presentation, great job. My question is, there's 11 of you students who now have what I would assume a greater appreciation for water in your region. My question is, how many other students in your school do you think really appreciate the critical nature of water? Do you guys represent a whole different level, or do you think people really care in your school about water?
In our school, this is just a program and one class. In our whole school, I feel like nobody's aware about that. Nobody's aware about the problems that the water brings. It's just us that we maybe could tell them more information about the actual water, how it's the scarcity about it, and more stuff about it, but nobody really knows about the water problems or just about water in general.
Well, we're very privileged to have water, and in our school, I feel like people don't really recognize how important water is. It's a resource that all of us use, and personally, I believe that the whole school should know about it, but since we know about it, I'm happy that we could spread the message to everyone else and tell them how important water really is.
Let's give these kids a round of applause. This is our bright future.
One of the challenges and maybe, well, it's a challenge. As an MC, I've got to keep things in my head and not say them out loud, but I'm just gonna be genuine. That was freaking cool. So, great job, guys. Don't tell your parents I said that.